Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to the Bible Bistro. Come on in. This is Daily Dose Radio, and we've got served up hot and fresh today. I don't know if it's cold where you are, but it's a little chilly here, so we got some hot drinks for you and some hot Bible study. We're looking at Psalm 29. We're going to look at verses 6 and 7 today. Now, before I read verses 6 and 7, let me just explain something about, and I've explained this before, so those of you who listen regularly, you'll understand this. Those who are new to the program, just as by way of explanation, my division of the Psalms as I teach them is artificial and is driven by the 5-day-a-week program. So I attempt to divide each psalm into equal portions for each day. So what I have today is verses 6 and 7. Now, I put 3 through 5 together because it stands so nicely together, but verse 6 actually should be with verses 3 through 5. That it should be a 4-verse piece. But as I said, because I'm driven by the need to divide as equally as I can the verses between the 5 days, sometimes my divisions land in a place that's a little awkward, and that's what we have today. Verse 7 should go with verses 8 and 9, but because, again, of the way I have to do it, I had to make 6 and 7 one piece. So I'm going to read 6 and 7 today. Just understand that 6 really is the nice ending point for what we had in 5, 4, and 3. 7 is the beginning place of what we have in 7 and 8. So they really don't go together. There's a really nice break here between 6 and 7. Just imagine it that way. And we'll slide off into one and then slide off into the other and talk about them both. Let me read 6. So he made them skip like a calf, Lebanon and Mount Hermon like a calf of the oxen. The voice of the Lord cleaves the flames of fire. So he made them skip like a calf. Who's the them? Well, the them there is Lebanon and Hermon, but that connects with verse 5, because in 5 we have the voice of the Lord breaks the cedars. The Lord breaks the cedars of Lebanon. Again, the strength of the Lord is being declared here. His glory is mentioned in 3, his strength is mentioned in 4, and demonstrated in 5. And now we see just what kind of effect the voice of the Lord has on nature. Not only does it break the cedars, but it makes the calves of the oxen to skip. That's in joy. So they understand the voice of the Lord, don't they? How come we don't? I wonder about that. He makes them to skip like a calf. Lebanon and Mount Hermon. Mount Hermon in some of your translations will say Siron. And that's just nothing but a transliteration where they've taken the Hebrew and put it into English. And it's not a translation at all. Siron means Mount Hermon. So we have Lebanon, the beautiful forests and cedar forests of Lebanon, and Hermon, that great and beautiful, majestic mountain in the north of the land. Those two things are going to skip like calves. So the voice of the Lord has an effect because it's his creation. So he can speak, and what do? They rejoice like a calf of the oxen. Now we come to verse 7, which is the first piece of 8 and 9. The voice of the Lord cleaves the flames of fire. This again demonstrates the strength of the Lord. Just his voice now. We're not talking about the entire person of God here, the Godhead. We're just talking about his voice. The speaking of his voice cleaves flames of fire. That is, he divides them. I don't know how you would divide a flame of fire, but he does it. And he does it with his voice. And this goes right along with what we have in 8, the wilderness of Kadesh, and then we're going to have something familiar in 9, which compares nicely with what we have there in 6. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'll leave that for then. I hope you'll join me tomorrow as the voice of the Lord continues to speak on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.